Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Serious, the Nerd Podcast. Joining me today are my co-hosts David Cochran and Jeremy Darr, and we are covering Daredevil Born Again, Episode 7. And of course we have our other episodes out right now. Our continuing coverage of this show, we have some combo episodes of the previous ones. And of course our Avengers Doomsday breakdown after all the news that came out with the chairs that revealed each names one by one very slowly over 5 hours. If you were there to watch it all, you're a sucker. And we have our recent comic talk with Illuminati, breaking down Daredevil and much more. And don't forget to follow us on social media at WhySoCitiusPod on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. Looking for that 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, rate, review, unsubscribe, resubscribe, rate, and review. So there is a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Daredevil Episode 7, what are you doing here? Go watch it and come on back. So a quick summary for the guys out there who have seen it maybe 5-6 days ago and they're ready to get a little recap. Fisk continues to fight against masked vigilantes with his task force. Matt tries to keep his identity hidden from Heather, who is the Muse's therapist. What are the odds? He confronts her, claiming she helped him become his true self, leading to an intense confrontation where Heather ends up shooting him. So let's get into Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, first. So in the beginning, he finds out that Matt/Daredevil is fighting crime again. They say that Muse wasn't alone. Someone else was in the room with him. And then we find out that the Tracksuit Mafia wants Vanessa back in charge again. Gains were at an all-time high while she was in charge, and with Fisk as the mayor, things aren't as good. So things are a little fishy. He's sending the task force in to take down the vigilantes, but I feel like Daredevil is doing good work for him. Like, he used to be the Kingpin, but now he's the mayor, and technically Daredevil helped him take out a serial killer. So I feel like maybe he should have a different opinion on this, where in the long run, he's kind of helping him out. You know what I mean, JD?
Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering this damn episode. I remember really liking it, though. Didn't I text you guys and say it's my
It's good. It was a good episode. It was good.
About my favorite, yeah.
Yeah, I remember liking it a lot. So, I suck for the podcast right now. I liked the Muse. I didn't have a complaint with Muse being, spoiler alert already, if we didn't do that, offed already, is something that happened in the comics, dude. I mean, he showed up for 3 issues total and he was gone. So I fault the creative team for not using a villain that's so cool more and, exploring his background, exploring his motives and character. And so, yeah, the show did that. That is a complaint with the show, but that's not really the show's fault. That is the source material for Muse. But I did like it. I enjoyed watching it, though. It was really cool, really fun. You had a villain. Did Kingpin and Matt even talk this episode?
No,
they didn't. But this is the one where Kingpin offed, Vanessa helped him off Luca, right?
Yeah, at the end. Right at the end.
Vanessa helped him?
Well,
she set up the meeting, right?
Yeah, people are debating whether he was in on it or if she was legitimately trying to have him killed and Kingpin's just on top
I think
of
she
it.
was. Because he said right after, call Vanessa. So maybe he...
Yeah.
It could go either way. It could be him letting Vanessa know mission accomplished, or letting Vanessa know, hey, bitch, I'm still here. So, but people are taking both sides of it.
I think I'm leaning the other way.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but the one thing that I didn't like was the convenience of Muse happening to find Matt's girlfriend as a therapist, which I was hoping he did that.
He's seen her before, though. I think.
Yeah, but did that have anything to do with his motives or Daredevil at all? Or was it just...
We don't know, yeah.
It was random, yeah. It was pretty
And he's
random.
already dead. It's not like we're going to learn more about that.
Right.
So it doesn't mean anything, which means it was just happenstance, which is a kind of a problem in movies. There's no way he just found Daredevil's therapist.
Yeah. And it was also Fisk and his wife's therapist. Well, right. Everyone in the city's therapist.
I think that's a plan. I think Kingpin... Because didn't he ask about her or something... And then he had the appointment with her, or is that another coincidence? That would suck, to be honest.
It feels like all coincidences, honestly. It didn't feel like he was snooping out Matt when he hired the therapist there. Yeah, it's all kind of felt like...
At all.
this is
There's only one
it all
therapist.
lined
It didn't
up.
seem like
Right?
it, but
Yeah,
I thought he
there's one
mentioned
therapist.
something. But anyway, I thought it was going to be one of like a part of Muse's plan to get close to Daredevil or manipulate him to get close to his girl, but it wasn't. Just a coincidence. So that was kind of,
Yeah.
Right.
It's what you said, Lub, about Kingpin and Daredevil being a good thing for his anti-vigilante task force. His advisor kind of says that because this is the first time we see Kingpin learn that Daredevil has returned. He had that talk with Matt in that episode, threatening him like, if you return as Daredevil, I'm going to have to, take you off the board. And Daredevil said the same thing to him. If you return as Kingpin, I'm going to be there. And now he gets confirmation that Daredevil's back. He was in the suit. He fought off Muse. There's reports of it. And his advisor tries to kind of tell him, like, maybe it's not such a bad thing, that he, like you said, he took Muse off the mat. Or no. Well, he stopped Muse at that thing. Muse was still alive. But he still helped. And Kingpin was not having it, got pissed, started going off about how Daredevil skipped all the justice systems, took him down unfairly. He was just trying to help the city. And Kingpin just gets tilted that his advisor would even suggest that Daredevil is a good thing for the city. So that was interesting. I like that. We got a quick glimpse into, if you didn't watch the Netflix series, into Kingpin's thoughts on Daredevil and why he is so angry and hates him so much and hates vigilantes. So we got a little inside look into that. I'm trying to think of what else happened with Kingpin at that point, but
are you guys familiar with Buck Cashman at all? He is a comic book character.
I think
he's
looks like he's a new Wesley.
Right, yeah, exactly. So no, you haven't seen him before in a comic book, JD? Buck Cashman? You're muted.
What an idiot, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
muted, JD.
I'm unaware of the identity of this character.
Okay, very, very eloquent.
But
thank you.
It leads me to my next question, though. Did we see Cole North in this episode at all, Dave? Because Dave's familiar because of the comics.
He was the one. He was the one who told them that Daredevil didn't do this. You guys did this. You guys are the one who defeated Muse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. He's so different from the comics, so it's not really. I don't really care about his arc so far yet. But he was so big in the comics, I expected him to play something a little more significant.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
Right.
we got. I'm kind of over the repeat. So we get the therapist, and we're doing the whole Matt's doing the dance with the therapist about, oh, well, this is why I can see this, and this is why I'm disappearing. It's kind of like the same role Karen played in season 1. And Cherry is essentially playing the role that Foggy played in season 1. He's the one who knows he's Daredevil, and he gives him guilt trips about anytime anything happens, and then Daredevil goes back to his girlfriend and has to lie to her about it. It's literally Foggy and Karen just back again, and now it's Cherry, and I don't even know Matt's girlfriend's name now.
Heather.
But I liked the little back and forth between Cherry and Matt, because Cherry lectures Matt, and he's like, I'm done with this. You're on your own. And he has the one line where he goes, yeah, the cops have been dicking around all night. Cops have been dicking around all week. I found Muse in one night. And then the next line he has, he's like, Cherry kind of guilt trips him. He's like, there was a time when you were on the force that during times like this, you called me. Like, you guys were literally calling me to take care of stuff like this now. And now you're going to guilt trip me about it. So I really liked that back and forth between Matt and Cherry there.
Yeah, Cherry needs to get with it. Get shit done.
Exactly my
Some
thought.
kind of random character with a weird name.
Mm-hmm. So what are you guys' predictions for Vanessa? Do you think Fisk will I mean, you guys said it could have been a setup, but what if it isn't? Do you think he'll forgive her because she is his only weakness? Or will he kind of change his ways after she tried to kill him? What do you think?
I'm on the side that she was in on it, so...
But she's been working against him the whole... I feel like
I don't think so. It seems like she's like...
They haven't teased at it, though. Really?
She seems like she's getting more comfortable with him. It seems like she was iffy at first, and now she's more like coming back into his hug, his arms. How does the saying go?
I feel like she's
That's
like...
what I want to do to you.
I feel like she got used to him not being around, and now that he's back, she wants him gone again.
That's how I felt at first.
At the beginning.
It feels like it shifted.
It feels like she was warming up a little bit to him. At the beginning, for sure, she wasn't happy with him being back. She was pissed that he left in the first place. She's like, you bailed. I've been handling stuff. I don't need you back now. It feels like they've been getting closer. But I'm kind of in the middle on this one with Luca. I'm not sure. I'm not confident either way if she was in on it or not. But if she isn't, I'm not enjoying their relationship as much as I did in the Netflix thing. Again, we'll see what they do with it. It's kind of been, whatever as of now. But the concept of her doing that to him, he finally gets rid of her, and now we get Kingpin, no holds barred, no weakness, no Vanessa there. He's just ready to let it all loose. Nothing to lose, Kingpin. That is an enticing concept that I would love to see roll out. But I'm at a loss. I couldn't say whether that was her trying to take him out or not right now. I'm very curious to see the next episode. I could see both arguments.
JD, so you're pretty sold on that she was in on it and they're just going to kind of celebrate the victory next episode?
Yeah, I think she's fully on the side of Kingpin, and if she's not, well, I think that scene would have been more dramatic if she wasn't. It would have told us something more than it was too easy, man. I mean, he showed up, he died. So it was
That's true.
It seems like it's such a setup. It would have maybe more tension, more drama in that scene. Yeah. I think there's still a chance she could turn on him. I do think that. I just don't think that was the moment. But I think that could still be a play later on there. Maybe it does tie to Foggy Nelson's death, spoiler alert, because of that whole Easter egg. She was a part of, I'm pretty sure, keeping him protected custody and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure she played a giant role in his resurrection.
Interesting.
He didn't die in the comics. But it was made out to be like he did, so.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Matt. So, Matt, like I said to you guys earlier this week, Matt is not blind, okay? He might say he's blind, but he's not. And he's in here getting it on in the shower. But, of course, she notices the bruises all over his body like his past girlfriends have who weren't Elektra. And he says he kind of just, he bumps into things sometimes. He's blind. You're not blind. You don't know how it is.
Yeah, lady, get off my back.
But as a therapist, she probably has a little insight into this. But it is hard for people with secret identities to have a normal life and have loved ones close to you because the more you tell them, the more danger they're in, really, so you're kind of lying to them to keep them safe. It's kind of that kind of old hero trope.
Right.
And she tells him she loved him, and he says he loves her back, which seems kind of quick, but hey, Matt's been through some shit. I'm sure he's, looking for love. Aren't we all? But I do like how it shows her heartbeat slowing down so she's honest. That's kind of one thing a Daredevil knows. If your heart's beating fast, you're lying. If it's slow, you're honest. So
right.
At least he's, found some true love.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I just don't find myself super interested in this plot point.
Yeah, it seems too forced.
Much,
yeah, it just doesn't feel like the chemistry's off the charts. I enjoy the Karen and Matt stuff. Even the Elektra and Matt stuff I like more than this, even though Elektra got a little obnoxious at points.
It was too much of the story with Elektra.
Yeah, it was. The flashbacks and everything, it was a lot. And he was super goofy in the flashbacks. But anyways, this show, I don't know. I'm not super interested in their thing, but
yeah. Matt goes and talks to Angela after she was rescued, and they flash back to that creepy ass hideout, and she tells him how he was amped about his sketches of faces. And how, which is interesting. Yeah. I'm really kind of upset he just died, and we're not going to find any more out. I feel like there was so much more they could have, done with 2 episodes left.
I took a note and was like, okay, he's very amped, more notably about the faces than anything, she said. So it's like, okay, wow. So there's something with it. Again, in the comics, he's kind of like a sensory black hole, and there's a lot of kind of intricacies behind him, and he's almost got a power set, it seems. And so it felt like there was so much stuff to uncover here. And then he just dies in this. It's like, okay, so that line didn't even mean anything. Who cares about the faces thing? He's dead now. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So that, man, I had a tough time with this episode because of that. And I said it last episode, too. I said, I feel like we're kind of rushing Muse. I feel like it could have been better. I think we all kind of agreed it could have been better if it was more of a slow burn, like these bodies are being found and this and that. And it's this mystery serial killer. And I feel like we really went from mystery and sprinted right to the result in like 2 or 3 episodes. I was pretty underwhelmed. And then after reading the comic run about Muse itself, it's only 5 issues, and he goes away at the end. But it made me think, wow, the show is lacking a lot. If I would have read the comic first and then watched the show and saw how that played out, I'd be very disappointed. So it feels like they kind of wasted what could have been a really cool character, but it kind of just feels like they speed raced it, and we're done now.
Yeah, it's almost like they just wanted to shove that character in there for no reason.
Yeah.
He played no, like, even though I did enjoy watching it, there was nothing significant about what he brought to the table at all. I expected way more of his commentary and his art to say things about Kingpin and Daredevil and even influence their behavior and like all kinds of stuff like that, but just nothing.
They really just used him as a tool to bring back Matt to being Daredevil. They used him as that tool, like, okay, I got to come back because of this guy. But he could have been used for so much more than just a tool of Matt's revenge. Like, man, you could have fleshed that out a lot. I don't know. Very interesting character that they wasted.
Yeah, I really liked him. Yeah. And they teased a lot and then just killed him off without finishing a lot of the storylines.
Dude, and I got to say, we talked about it last episode. Boy, I hope we get, a good story as to why Muse is fighting so well against Daredevil. Like last episode, he was catching him. He looked like a master of the martial arts. Like he was insane.
Oh.
And the whole explanation we get
Jiu-jitsu
that
or whatever.
His parents forced him to take Taekwondo as a kid, and he no longer practices. He doesn't even currently practice it anymore. He just took it as a child unwillingly, and he is fighting Daredevil with this amount of skill. I had such a big problem with that. When they said that, and he said, I used to take Taekwondo, and then he died at the end of the episode, I was like, well, that's a lie. There's some other reason why he's such a good fighter. We're going to get the sensory information about maybe Matt couldn't read him as well. Like in the comics, Matt can't really read his movements because of this weird black hole thing he has going on. Nope. He took Taekwondo unwillingly as a kid, and that's why he can fight one of the best fighters in the MCU. Okay.
You could have made him a mutant or something, or he was like an Inhuman in the comics or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
I think he was, yeah. I think the Terrigen Mist, or at least I was waiting for that reveal in the comics, the Terrigen Mist.
Yeah, because they were like a part of the story, the Inhumans.
It kept happening, yeah. But nothing. Like Taekwondo as a kid, huh?
Lazy.
That's bad. That's got to be a Chapek part of the plot.
He could have been part of the Hand, like a Hand rogue.
Right? Or apprentice. They picked him up off the street and trained him. Like something, bro. Yeah. Give me that.
He took his own path.
Super lazy. That was a big... I think that's part of the reasons why that wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I was really annoyed by that.
Mm-hmm. And then Matt goes to the Muse's hideout, and he's blind, and he takes his glove off to kind of feel things, but he's just putting his fingerprints all over everything in the middle of a crime scene. Kind of not the best strategy, but I like how the crooked cop pulls up and goes, "Hey!" and he just throws the whatever at him and just KOs him immediately. That was so funny.
That was awesome, dude. I love the little back and forth between him and that officer.
Right. So, they're not friends. So let's move on to Muse, where he shows up for his therapist appointment very randomly. He has a troubled past, of course. Didn't have a good childhood. Classic villain. He knows Taekwondo, like we said. But I think the thing that kind of made me think that he's been seeing her for a while was he said she allows his creativity to flourish, and the city is finally seeing him for who he truly is. So I think he's been going to her for a while, maybe pre-murders, and her kind of opening up to her kind of made him probably go out and kill people and drain their blood.
But
in
the start of the season, he finds her and asks her, "Can I be your patient?" in episode 1 or 2. So he just met her. So yeah, again, I would have liked to get fleshed out more. Yeah, he opened up real quick to her.
Damn.
Yeah. Again, rushed a little bit.
And he paints a picture with his nose blood. That's just gross, dude. Like, that's just nasty, man. Like, come on. What are we doing here?
He's been painting like the blood of 65 victims, but his own nosebleed is where you draw the line.
Yeah.
All right, bro, that's gross. I was with you before, but
dude, do you remember that old? If you're a kid, do you remember that commercial that dude's like cooking eggs in this greasy ass dirty pan, like all this nasty shit, and then this guy
the don't smoke
lights
cigarette
up
commercial.
a cigarette. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's gross, dude.
Yeah. No, he like shakes off the coffee ground thing in the trash can and then like pours more on top of it. It's such a nasty.
It's like an old greasy pan. He just cracks some eggs in there.
Yeah. And then the cigarette is the gross part.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I think you are.
Oh, they're both kind of gross. In the house.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be smoking in that.
Right.
We've all had a cigarette every now and then at a party, but my God. No, we haven't.
No, we haven't, ever.
No, we haven't.
But is anyone going to check on her? Like, is she just alone in this building by herself to where it's like, hey, this creepy guy's hour is up. Maybe we should go check on her? You know?
Oh,
and he has time to he has time to knock her out, bang her against the wall, and then tie her up and then, like, get in his full Muse regalia. And then no one checks on her the whole time. Like, hey, like, how's it going in here?
She must not have a secretary.
Yeah, I guess not.
Pro bono work. I don't know. Just chilling for a while there. She's like, do you feel nothing? It's like, yeah, clearly not, lady. He's killed 65 people and is painting with their blood. Why, obviously, he doesn't feel anything. He's a serial killer. You're a psychiatrist, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
And the anyone who wears a mask is a coward line is interesting. I feel like that's meaningful to where she obviously has a maybe hint that Matt is Daredevil. And he wears this mask. So I wonder how she's going to feel when she obviously eventually finds out. I feel like she's going to find out this season.
Yeah.
Doesn't she keep making comments about masks? Like early on? Like I felt like she was almost responsible for Muse or something. Yeah. Maybe she plays a bigger role. I don't know. She's got some kind of obsession.
She's Muse the whole time.
Oh, man.
Speaking of her and Muse, though, and gripes, since I'm already kind of feel like I'm ranting. He painted a picture of Matt's girlfriend, Heather, with the blood. Mm-hmm. Matt proceeded to feel it with his hands and could tell it was her. So
his powers expand every
season. Think
season.
About this. For him to be able to tell it was her by feeling the ridges of the painting, Muse would have had to paint a 100% accurate rendition of every angle of her face. Like, how is he
I didn't like that.
Painting that Muse painted and knowing it's her, unless it's her exact face painted? You know, the logical part of my mind was like, I don't think he should be able to tell. He should just be able to, there's a painting of some face. How would he know it's her unless Muse just had a 3D render of her face on that?
That was terrible.
Might be a nitpick, but it was stacking up on this episode. I was like, that doesn't make sense. All right, whatever.
And we missed the scene where Daredevil does the same thing he does with every girlfriend, where he traces over their face first to see if they're hot or not, and then he approves them afterwards.
Yes.
Which he's 5 for 5 so far. So
no, he's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the painting, what do we do?
But he does come in the clutch, crashes through the window for the save, and that when he throws the chain through his chest and you see it go through, hook him and pull him back, that was sick.
Dude,
I mean, that was some good...
Right through the chest, bro. Oh, that was sick. Because you could tell he started losing it a little bit. He got his almost feral roar about to go off again, and he just... Oh, that was
and Muse was bloody.
Yeah,
he was covered in blood.
Through by his heart, bro. That was a close call. And the score rose right when it impaled him, and that was awesome. That was such the whole fight scene was very satisfying.
Yes. And Heather just pulls out the gat and finishes him off, which is also wild. Yeah. Didn't see that coming.
No. Which kind of makes you feel like maybe she does have a secret going on, because a psychiatrist who just shot full 5 times, and her face was like composed when it showed her and she was aiming the gun. She wasn't like shaking, freaking out. She was solid. She was not shaking.
She was shook afterwards, though.
She looked confident when she killed him. Yeah, she was shook up afterwards, but I saw that and was like, damn, she's done this before. She shot somebody before.
That's not her first kill.
Yeah.
So with the surprising death of Muse in episode 7, there's 2 more episodes left. Do you guys think Fisk and the task force are the main villains of this series going forward? And how do you think Punisher is going to tie into this?
Yep. That's
JD?
it. That was my thing. Yeah, Fisk and Punisher, man. That's all I give a shit about at this point. I don't even care how much screen time Daredevil has, dude. I just want to see Fisk and Punisher, their big roles. I want to see Fisk go full villain, do his thing like that. Punisher, his thing like that. So we got Muse out of the way. We're done with that. They had fun with their little comic-y moment, like their little bank episode, which I liked too. They're trying to be really comic-y, apparently, but that's over. I think now it's the fucking penultimate in your final episode. And so, yeah, we're going to get Kingpin and Punisher. And I think I'm looking forward to probably the best episodes here. This is the story. This is the climax of the story. It's not the side comic-y fun stuff. It's like what the show is about.
Yeah, that's my expectations as well. Right now, episode 6 is my favorite. If one of these next 2 episodes does not become my favorite episode, I think it's a problem. I think it's not going to be a great sign for the overall quality of the show. It's still, regardless where we're at right now, I feel confident that's going to be an 8 out of 10 show by the end of it. But I'm really hoping it can hit 9. So I'm really hoping we can get a really solid... I expect Punisher to be in both episodes, and I expect him to have a decent role. If it was just him being... No, we got the set photos of him in the suit, so it can't just be that little conversation. He's got to be showing up here. So I'm fully expecting a lot of Punisher and Kingpin. And I'm fully expecting one of these episodes to be my favorite. So I think there is a lot of pressure coming into these 2 episodes. I think this is a big make or break whether this is just a good show or a great MCU series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough for me because I finished season 2 of the Netflix series like a week before this show started, and it took a while for me to kind of get into this. But every episode, I'm
you're talking about it. Sorry.
It felt like a knockoff at first. You know what I mean?
I could see that.
But because like just the quality of season 2 is just so good, and then going into this, it wasn't as great. But I feel like they're doing the best they can in an MCU world. So I'm so excited for these last 2 episodes.
Straight up.
And it's 1 per week, right? We're not getting some spoiled ass. Damn it.
1 week, or one next week, and then 1 the week after, and then after that is Andor.
We're going to be dying after Tuesday to see that finale. I guarantee they're going to pull some shit. We're just going to be like, a whole week.
I'm already dying. Dude, I was so Megan walked by and she was asking something about the episode, and I was explaining that Daredevil's now back and he's in his suit or something else, and that I just had a moment of appreciation where I was like, dude, we're actively getting new Daredevil episodes. Like, it feels like one of the first superhero projects I truly loved, and I'm sitting here explaining, this is what's going on with this new episode of Daredevil. So I had a moment of appreciation watching, even though it wasn't my favorite episode, just the fact that it's back and it's good,
Yeah.
Freaked out.
Well, stay tuned for our coverage of the last 2 episodes. And thank you for joining us. And we will see you next time on Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.